We're going to get started on our meeting. Welcome to the Midvale Planning Commission meeting. Today, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please rise and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can I get a roll call, please?
Chair Anderson,
Here.
Vice Chair Erickson is excused. Commissioner Tippett,
Here.
Commissioner Snow, Commissioner Lickey,
Here.
Commissioner Edwards,
Here.
Commissioner Kasparian.
Here.
Thank you very much. Did you get a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes.
And is there anything you're questioning or?
I thought they were very good.
Yep.
Very well
I
done.
have no comment.
Good job. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion for that, please?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from August 13th, 2025.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll open our public hearing tonight. We have a couple of items. First, we will have Carl Green requests a preliminary subdivision approval for a 3-lot subdivision located at 8253 South Main Street in the multifamily residential medium high density RM25 zone, and Elizabeth is presenting.
Yes. Okay. Hopefully our big screen will be on in a second for you guys, but they should be familiar. Okay. So what you'll see on the screen is a picture of the vicinity map. It's just a little bit further down Main Street. If you can see through the red that I've highlighted, you'll see how some of the property boundaries are there. It's currently 3 parcels, kind of one big one that sits mostly on the eastern and a little bit west, a little carve out on the west, and then this lower southwest portion. So the proposed subdivision still keeps 3 lots, but it does dedicate quite a bit of public road to the city and some other things. So staff has reviewed it, fire, engineering, building, legal, everyone, and have moved it forward. So unless you have any other questions, I just have a motion for you.
Any questions?
Not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Is Mr. Green here? I'd like to come forward. State your name for the record, please.
Carl Green. I'm with McNeil Engineering. We've been working with the owner to develop their property into a community of multifamily homes. They've bought up some of the existing houses there to be able to clear up the land, to be able to develop the site out to its capacity for multifamily. And this subdivision request is simply cleaning up a lot of old survey data and, again, giving back or giving to the city a lot of right-of-way easements and things to comply with the current state of affairs in the city.
Nice.
We just ask that we get it approved so that we can start building out there.
Do you guys have any questions for him?
No, I'm familiar with the area. There's already a lot of nice apartments and it's well taken care of. And yeah,
Great.
it's a great little community already. This will just add to it.
Agreed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This is open to public hearing. If there are any comments, please come up and state your name for the record. Thank you.
My name is Nelson Mark. I live across the street from there. A year or 2 ago, it was going to be like downtown Midvale. They were going to build little shops underneath and apartments on top. So what happened within there? And they're already digging up the soil, the dirt, laying pipes. So is it a done deal? Because it's changed from, like I said, like down here in Midvale on the main street, how they had businesses underneath. And Daryl said he was giving back to the community. Daryl Smith. And
I have no idea.
he's not really the good person to know because I lived over here for over 40 years. I got apartments behind me and back of me. And then back of me, when he sold that bought that property from the lady, the original owner, next door neighbors, said it was just going to be housing, and they put apartments in there, 12 plex, I believe, 8 or 12. all that area, if you look at Daryl, all his properties all built in apartments around subdivisions, residentials. And he sat on the board over here for years, planning board, so.
I have-
He's been
I
long
don't
gone,
have
I'm sure.
any idea.
He's still alive, but, yeah. Because they pushed down one house, and then he still has another house that he has to push down.
So for this meeting, we're just doing the subdivision and.
Yeah,
putting
the
it-
subdivision, I'm just wondering why did it change all of a sudden from, he's a good guy, he's helping out the community, he wants to give something back, because they rezoned it once to have that, and now they're rezoning it for apartments once again.
It's already zoned for apartments, and we're not doing a rezone, we're just doing the subdivision plat.
What happened to the houses that were there?
The houses,
Yeah, he took one white house down to, it's on the east side, just south of
because
there.
he's doing a subdivision,
Yeah, I know that, but,
so he has to clean up.
yeah, but
Take down.
it was housing, and he was just gonna go along the street area, and so, anyway, is it a done deal? That's what I'm just questioning about.
No,
No?
No, all we're doing tonight is the subdivision, so we're giving him the opportunity to develop that, but we don't know for sure what that development is.
Well, I mean, our whole neighborhood's nothing but apartments, and then, on the west side of me, there's 3 homes, and all 3 of them's just rental homes. The whole subdivision's lost, everything around there, you know. If you look down that whole west side, you can see the different apartments he's put in little subdivisions, and it just seems like it's just mushrooms, and it's like a cancer, it just keeps on spreading. I understand you guys are just within the laws and everything else. I was just wondering if it's a done deal, that's okay.
no.
Gwendolyn?
Well, that's what we're here to
Okay.
decide
Because there's no
on the
residents
subdivision.
really around us. We got one house just across the street that he's talking about. They don't speak English. So I went and knocked on their doors. And everybody else says, it's a done deal. Why waste your time?
Just to address what you
Pardon?
talked about earlier, I think you may be remembering that the zone was altered a little bit, the underlying zoning
Yeah, you had to
code.
change it to get it in place.
Well, it was altered in order to accommodate a possible commercial use on the main floor.
Yeah, off of 7th West.
Yes, and so, but that, the applicant chose in the end to not make use of that. And, I mean, you could ask them, obviously in the room.
Oh, no, they go for the biggest bang for the buck. Daryl is a good landlord, don't get me wrong there. He does great, keeps the place up great. No trouble, you know, the people over there are really extremely friendly, helpful. There's no problem with Daryl over there. He has professional landscapers come by, cleans the place every week, snowplow people. And when they push the snowplow out of this parking lot, they push it across the street on me, and then they have a lot in the street, but, you know, there's only so much they can push it. Because I used to work for the county as Public Works, and so I see that all the time. For years, they just push it across the street and to the next door, wherever it lands. There's nothing you can do about that. Snow has to go somewhere. But it's Daryl overall, you know, he's a good landlord. Nothing wrong with that. He has a great thing for his people there. I was just wondering if it's just going to be done that way, don't have to come back again.
We're just
Yeah, you guys
making a
just.
subdivision, that's it.
Yeah, you guys have nothing else?
I can chime in and answer that. So they did, like Vendeline said, they had a rezone a little bit ago for a potential commercial use. They didn't end up doing that. They do already have a site plan and building permit to build 2 more, well, I think just permitted right now, 1 more similar structure to what exists there currently. So there will be, I think, it's planned to be 2 more buildings that look
Yeah,
very
it's just,
similar to what's there.
it just says on the bottom right, or yellow on the thing, multiple use. Subdivision located on 8253 South Main, multiple family residence, high density. Now, high density is a unique part. I don't know what high density is.
Yeah, that's just the name of the zone, so it will be, I think, a 24, and maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but 24 units in the buildings, just like what exists currently. They will just probably put 2 more on the pieces that they have added to this.
Yeah, because last time I was in here, you guys were all excited about the ones on 7th West over here. They finally put in the homes in Midvale. And that whole tailings on over there, that was supposed to be a park. List went on all kinds of different things. 90th South 72, and Midvale had plenty of water. It just seems like our area is just, why don't you guys just commute the whole area as apartments? That'd help me out a lot, because I live on a 3/4 acre lot. so I could just sell right there and then just walk away with everybody else.
We'd
Midville
happily-
just seems like more transitional neighborhoods.
We'd happily entertain your application for any of those.
Oh, I'm just
you know,
curious.
no
I know you guys
discriminate,
got a great job. You
Okay.
guys fantastic. You guys do this voluntarily, all that kind of stuff. You guys, hats off to you guys. I'm just curious. When it said high density, because it just seems like they just keep encroaching more and more. It's just like the street just now across from Daryl's. LDS Church was going to give it to the area for a ballpark, a little park for $1.
Sure.
And the city said no. Then they put in high density, well, it helps out women and all this kind of stuff. Wasn't going to be sold ever. It was going to be manicured. Drive by there now. They sold a lot of it. Weeds are everywhere. Lawns are torn up. Everything everybody says, after a short time, it just disappears.
Yeah.
It's kind of like water in your hand. You can hold it as tight as you want, but it just seeps through.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys staying input, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your participation as
Oh,
well.
no,
Very
no,
much
it's
so.
all good.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
curious.
Thank you
Okay,
for being
very
here.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Seeing there's no one, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call? No.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Sorry. Next is Midvale City initiated request to.
No,
No,
we need to make a motion.
internal.
Oh, yeah, I gotta make a motion. I'm so sorry.
I move
And
that we.
attorney.
Sheesh. Do we need anything?
I mean, I think you're familiar with it, but this is an administrative decision for the commission to make. If it does meet the requirements, you are required to approve it. The only way you cannot approve it is if it doesn't meet the requirements.
Okay, thanks. Sorry.
You can make a motion.
I move that we approve the preliminary subdivision located at 8253 South Main Street with findings included in the staff report.
I'll second.
Can I get a roll call for that? Thanks, Kate.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Snow,
Yes.
Commissioner Licky,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Kasparian.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that. It's probably because I had, lunch here yesterday and thought, I've already talked about this. Okay, Midvale City initiated request to amend various sections of the SF1, SF2, RM12, and RM25 zones of the Midvale City Municipal Code relating to master plan developments. Liz?
Okay, I will try to make this as digestible as possible, but there is a little bit to get through, so bear with me on this. So master plan developments, we saw one at the last meeting, and we do encounter them fairly often in the city. As our code sits currently, I have what is required here on the screen. The interesting thing is that the only requirement is that if a project is over an acre, it has to have a master plan application. So that does require your approval for small scales and city council's approval for large scales and things like that. Outside of that, and the purpose I've listed here on the screen is for coordinated design, to plan for common area, to mitigate any negative impacts, things like that. Outside of that, there are no requirements for master plan developments. So that just gets a little bit wonky when we are reviewing them and trying to find a purpose that meets what the code says the purpose is. So the only thing that the code provides for, and what I've listed here, are requirements that they have outlined for if a developer wants incentives. Okay, so I've listed the 6 there. They have to meet all of them in order to get any kind of incentives, which are increased density, lowered setbacks, things like that. And the requirements are a little bit hefty, I would say. So some to point out are the improved non-motorized trail linkages. This is a very difficult one for us to enforce and to define for projects, so this has become a sticking point with developers. The minimum of 15% improved common open space, that all makes sense. I think we're all here for improved common recreation area for large projects. But this requirement to meet a minimum of 50% open space on the project is quite large, and anyway, it goes on to say structural facade requirements to be brick and other things, have easements and all this stuff that it requires for incentives. So we really took a hard look at this because we weren't sure that it was serving the purpose to give the city the kind of projects we want to see with master plan developments. Last requirement for them to note is that there are no clear parking standards for master plan developments. They just leave that up to the commission's discretion, which always puts us in a wonky spot legally, so I think it's always better if we have a clear standard that we can follow. So, we have made some proposed changes to this section to make it much, much simpler and to actually have some requirements that they must meet when they come in. So first thing that we are proposing to change is that we only require master plan developments for projects that have common area, where they would be maintaining that. So projects like we saw last meeting, where they are just doing what we would call lot by lot development, just like any other house in the zone, those would no longer require a master plan development because they don't need the same kind of coordinated design or breakup of housing types, things like that. So proposing that master plans only have, only for projects with common area included. And then we would change the requirements to be that they just provide 25% improved common open space for recreational amenities and things like that. We would, this second bullet that I've included on the different housing models, this is very similar to what we see in the TOD. So anytime they have to provide 2 different unit types, and if they have more than 16 units, then they have to have 3 different housing types, and we've listed some very clear criteria for what we think that looks like. They're all fairly aesthetic. The last thing, 2 things, we've allowed building footprint lots, so ones where it's just, you know, they subdivide it and they have just the house as part of the lot and none of the common area included, with some provisions that it be 10 feet from structure, which meets building code, and then further from right-of-way. And then consistent with some of the other parking standards, we're proposing that there's just a 2 stall parking requirement for every dwelling unit. So this is up for your, really just a discussion with you about whether or not you feel like that kind of solves what we are trying to do with master plan developments. I think I've just, yes, let me point out. So I have just gone through the SF1. The SF1 and the SF2 are a copy paste of each other in the zone. The only differences come in RM12 and RM25, which both had this requirement for the incentives that they commit to developing a minimum of 90% of the zone density. And we have just removed that because we haven't found it very helpful, or we've needed it. So we can talk about putting that back in if you think that's helpful, or if we want to just let developers develop to the density that they see fit, and that might mean that they are under density, we just took that out. So that's not currently in the proposed changes. And then the other one that we have removed with this chunky section in RM12 that was very convoluted about if your project has this on the perimeter and blah, 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 that seems to have been written for one very specific project, and we just took that out moving forward because it was a headache to deal with.
So what that first one states is that, just so wrap my head around it, is they could develop it at 50% density, and that would be fine.
Yes, we would allow them to do that.
Instead of requiring them to
build
maximize the density.
Yes.
And so, which they probably never would, but it also gives them that flexibility to create something that might be more spacious.
Yes,
as far as,
should they choose to.
Should they
So
choose
that was just does the commission feel like that's representative of what Midvale wants to see with master plan developments, or if they're coming in these higher dense zones in RM12 and RM25, do we really want those to be closer to maximum density? I think that's what that was trying to get at. So we took it out. We haven't found the need to regulate that or to impose that on developers, but again, totally open to discussing that if you'd like us to include it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I don't think we're giving up anything. I think potentially we could gain something by having less density
Okay,
if they so choose.
awesome.
Maybe to add to that a little bit, the RM25 and the RM12 zones are also generally not set up to necessarily drive everything to the highest density possible in the zone. As an example, you could develop just single-family homes on a 5,000 square foot lot in both zones. So if you follow that, principle in the zone, then in the master plan development, that would not be consistent to say, but in this context, you must develop to the highest possible density that the zone allows.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I will just walk you through the last bit, which is just our regular text amendment criteria. I'm sure you're very familiar with this. Staff finds that this promotes the objectives of the general plan and generally our code, and then also more clearly explains original language and makes interpretation more straightforward for us moving forward. So we've cited those, and then I have a motion, but if you have anything else you'd like to discuss about proposed changes or keeping in others,
Can you
this
stop
slide
there?
or the
Yes,
other one?
please, this
Okay.
slide. So, I have concerns here where we previously dictate a lot size that then requires subdivision, like planning, like we're talking about.
Yes.
We're stepping away from that entirely, and
Yes.
the only criterion is that there would be common area.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So
Yes.
developers effectively navigate around that by just not including any common area at all. And is that the vision we have for Midvale, that, the density of housing without common area included?
Yes. It also would be projects we typically haven't seen before that maybe come in right under an acre,
Yep.
those would happen. But yes,
I think we need more parking too. Like, can we do a minimum per development? Two stalls just means if they do a 2-car garage and a 2-car driveway.
even just a 2-car garage
Yeah.
would meet that. Yes.
I've been in thousands of developments, that's never enough.
No, it never is.
We can talk about that. I do
If
know
we
that
had 10, it wouldn't be enough.
we've looked in the code. Basically, we have increments. 1 bedrooms require X amount. 2, the highest we ever require, or that I've seen in these zones in the code, is for 3 bedrooms and greater, and we require 2.5 stalls per unit. So,
Is there a way to say like not, excluding garage space or something like that, right, to have a driveway?
Yeah, I would say that 98% of the population can't park 2 cars in the 2-car garage.
Yeah.
I would beg to, it's probably even higher.
that's a great question. I don't know if, maybe I would tap Daniel on that. I don't know if we could say that excludes garage space,
Yeah.
but do you happen to know? Sorry, I put you on the spot there legally for that.
I mean, and I don't see why that would be a problem if you wanted to arrange that in the ordinance, that the off-space parking can't include a garage space. I don't
I
think
don't
that would be
even
an issue.
think it needs to say that. I think that it just not 3 bedrooms. I think if you're gonna have a livable unit, you have 2.5,
Oh, okay, so you're just
leave it
saying the
at
new
that.
minimum would be 2.5 per
no
unit?
matter what. If you have a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, a
Okay.
1
Leave it
bedroom
at
person
that.
is still gonna have visitors.
Okay,
I mean, example, I went down 2 weeks ago to get my son an apartment down in Cedar City. There is no parking, and it's this exact same thing. They've got 2-car driveways, and there is no off-site parking. We had to park a block down the road on a highway because there is literally no parking in the project. And
Yeah.
every parent there had the same problem.
I like the idea of being able to adjust the parking, because that seems to always be,
Always bites us.
Sure.
always seems to be an issue.
okay.
And I understand we don't always use that parking, and do we want to spend all the surface for parking? But yet, the experience has been that there always seems to be lacking, especially guest parking.
Okay,
So-
yeah,
So if we went ahead and did the 2.5,
Per unit, doesn't matter if it's
right,
one.
yeah, we don't currently distinguish 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom,
Yeah,
anything for
that'd be the
these,
way to
so
do it then.
we would just make a change to the ordinance that says 2.5 per unit.
Is 0.5 difficult though for
Well-
this type of?
Well, it's 1 acre, so if you're doing RM 25 and you're getting 25 units per acre, then you'd have multiple.
Let me ask you this: Are you thinking about this as like a visitor parking requirement? Is that the idea?
That's what I was wondering, is if it's better 2 per unit plus visitor parking.
Yeah, that would be another way
Stipulate,
to express it, because otherwise then you run into the problems of, well, 2.5 per unit, but where's your half spot, you know?
One person has
Yeah.
3 because they have an extra wide driveway or
The half
something.
has to be off
So it's
proper,
visitor.
off.
Yeah.
So it would be good.
Usually our standard for guest parking is 1 for every 4 units.
And I don't think that's enough.
So,
If
but
I'm remembering, I can double check that.
I also think that, maybe I'm wrong here, I'm thinking like, do we undermine this a little bit by saying it has to have common area and then there's visitor parking? I guess not, that's cohesive, right? Parking would be in common
They usually
areas.
go
Yeah.
in tandem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you could add the parking to the incentives, where if they give us more parking,
So we did away with all incentives.
all of them.
Yes. In the new proposal, it would just be certain requirements, like they said, and we just found that, at least in the ones that were existing currently, no developer could meet all the requirements or wasn't meeting the requirements to get incentives. And we didn't want to have the kind of, I think we just wanted to have consistency in projects throughout the city, so
Aside from the trails,
no incentives currently.
back to the
Yeah.
incentives. I think the trail one's the hardest one to meet. Is that not?
Open space.
Yeah, so the,
I think
and
we want open space.
But you're getting rid of that.
so the trail,
trail.
yes, and there's a specific reason. The way, the ordinance currently reads is it's sometimes almost unenforceable. It talks about trail connections, but what if you have a development that doesn't connect to a trail right now? And you may remember we stumbled over that with an approval before. And at the same time, if we feel there is, a property somewhere that could serve as a trail connection in any way, then the city should really go out proactively and try to purchase the property. Instead of having sort of an ordinance that blankets all possible areas in the city with this requirement that oftentimes really realistically can't be fulfilled.
Yeah, you have a little trail around the community.
Yeah, that's how we sort of try to enforce that,
So
but
you
it's
have a little
Kind of weird.
track, high school track that goes around the property and you call it your trail and, no one uses it because it doesn't connect to anything.
Yeah, and as an example, there's a development that I can think of where it seems over time that development in and of itself has done interesting things with that. For example, fenced it off. So it's...
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I'm okay with getting rid of that.
So, okay, any other thoughts on this?
I'd still would like open space and a common area. But I'm old school.
So we've just basically combined those. We just did away with unimproved open space and increased the amount of improved common area.
But
So-
I'm with them, I think developers are gonna skirt it.
Correct, they're gonna just say, well, there's no common area at all
then
to
they'll
get
just do
around
it.
the correct.
So I don't think we should take that out.
Yeah, so I think if I'm interpreting right what you two are saying, you feel a developer might come in and look at this and say, oh,
If I put
If
no
I-
common area,
I don't
Yeah,
think you go
so-
to the planning commission.
so it's a disincentive to provide actually common area. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
yeah,
And
and
then they
so,
can still do common area, they just don't call it common area. They call it
Yeah.
a gazebo.
yeah, and so I think for me, there's either like lot standards, which is what we have now for size. I think it was 1 in 25 acres. What was the acreage requirement for small versus large?
Over an acre was small, anything over 5 required large
Yeah.
scale.
I liked that, personally, but maybe that's cumbersome.
Oh, I like it.
Well,
So you're saying, I guess I'm not understanding, if projects are over an acre,
Require small, yes.
I just think that it needs to come to the planning regardless if they say common space or open space. I think it's still.
well, I'm thinking there would have to be yard space because they, their buildings can't
not
be
common.
right.
But it's
Yeah,
not common. That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be common.
But if it wasn't common, then they would just have to meet regular zone.
I think we want
standards.
common above and beyond someone's backyard that nobody's gonna go in. If you're gonna put 25 units on an acre,
Yeah, and maybe I could, like, personally, I could get comfortable with the under 5 doesn't necessarily need it, but over 5, I can't see, like, my vision of Midvale where, over 5 acres, we're just gonna let them go plop in whatever, without any common. I think the city's too built out for my taste to allow that at this stage.
100% agree.
why don't we do this? Let's maybe look at this and see, for example, how many parcels do we still have that would fit the mold?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And that we maybe as staff look at this again and see, what's the danger of this happening? And I think you're right. I mean, it's a real concern, and maybe this is an actual disincentive to providing common area. And
That's kind of a hard judgment too, because 9 out of 10 homes I'm building, I'm tearing down property to build property.
okay,
So just because there's not parcels left doesn't mean there's not gonna be projects.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's true too.
They're gonna tear down the old homes. And
Yeah, I mean, you can go buy 5 homes because it's zoned RM25. And now we've created that parcel.
yeah.
So we can take a look at that. Was there anything outside of that? And
Parking.
tell me about the parking. Did we decide that we wanted to go 2.5 stalls per unit, or we wanted to
think
provide
we
for
need a
guest
half.
parking?
2 plus half visitor per unit.
Off property, I don't know how you.
Yeah. how-
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
So you get-
specifically 2 stalls per unit and a half stall per unit for guest parking?
Yeah, but
Yes.
Off-street?
Off street.
off-street. But
Okay.
can we, does
But
that
we
mean
would
they're
then
using
say-
their driveway?
And, yeah, sorry, did we decide that we wanted the parking to exclude garage space?
I just wanted to exclude driveways.
You mean garages?
No, because nobody parks in their garage anyway.
Okay.
So we're considering
Okay.
driveways this
Okay.
parking. I want a half a stall
For
per
visitor.
unit
Okay.
other than the driveway.
So you want 2 per unit, which could either be garage or driveway?
Or it could
And
be a-
then
it could
another
be a-
half, and
It
then,
could be a single car garage,
and then another .5 someplace,
but no matter what, they're
Yeah.
gonna give 0.5 per unit.
somewhere.
Whether it's a 1 car, 2
Yeah,
car.
yeah,
In visitor.
yeah.
And is that the consensus of the
Yeah.
commission?
So
Yes.
1.5 visitors someplace.
Okay.
Can I throw something in there?
Is it
Does-
gonna hurt our feelings?
No, just for the point of discussion. So currently, when we review a plan, and most developers would probably put it like this on the plan, if you have a garage and a driveway that can accommodate a car in its depth, that would count as providing 4 spaces.
Yeah.
But that's
So-
never the case.
And so I think
because
what he's
people
saying,
have things in their
what
garage.
he's saying
Right.
is the 2-car parking needs to be exclusive of garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
somehow.
that's where I was wanting to go with this. Is if that's what you want, then that would have to be, we would have to dig a little deeper and say,
I think it's worth
I'm
it.
bought in,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, I like that because I've had
People would be
a
happier.
lot of complaints in condos where
Parking
they
into
have their 2 parking
It's
and it's
crazy.
tandem parking in their garage.
Oh, yeah, right
And
behind
there's
me.
no guest parking. I mean, there's guest parking, but minimal. And they just,
Well, then what
they're
was the,
furious and
there was a project charging for off-site parking, for guest parking.
Yeah,
Oh,
after it was approved
Sandy
here.
does
Yeah.
that.
So we need to put that in there, that
You can't charge for
guest parking is guest parking,
yeah.
as long as it's not.
Shelby View behind me is a mess. Tandem, no place, no visitors, and if you
Streets are
park,
lined,
yeah, it's awful.
Well, the condos down on 7th West, I've,
I can't think of a project.
Yeah.
that doesn't have parking.
I've gotten lots of earfuls from them.
Yeah,
And I think the city
traffic
probably
and
does
parking
too.
are the
Right, the
things we
two.
hear
Yeah,
about
traffic
all
and
the
parking.
time.
Every single project.
Yeah, if you can get ahead of it, and
Yeah, why
it's gonna
not?
make the residents a little happier with traffic if parking's not gonna be a mess.
Okay, so I've got notes on parking, which was 2 stalls excluding garages, plus 0.5 stalls of guest parking per unit.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
And then I guess I'm still just, maybe I am not understanding, obviously I'm not understanding the common area concern.
Yeah.
Because so the project like we had last week, where they just came in with a lot by lot development, because they were over an X amount of acreage, you guys had to, the commission had to see that. And you want to see projects like that. Even when they are as simple as lot by lot, we are just
I do, 'cause I think
meeting lot standards.
they're gonna push the boundaries. I'm guilty of
agree.
it.
I think
I agree.
at some acreage they want to. I think I could get comfortable with 2 acres and less that I don't maybe care about, but definitely like in the 5 acre, like 100%, I think
If
that
we
needs
did
to come
over
in.
an acre and say the minimum was 20%, if they wanted to do less, they could come and get
Petition
a
us.
variance of some sorts for less
What do you mean for less?
than 25%.
Well, so lots that, or developments that are just doing, single family developments or duplex developments still wouldn't have to, under this, come because they're doing no common area. They're just doing, we're subdividing it into 8 lots or,
So we have 2 zonings where it's single family versus multifamily in the RM12.
say that one more time, sorry.
Yeah, I'm working this, I'm watching it.
I'm sorry, and I'm also trying to
If I have
just
an acre-
understand.
If I have an acre that's zoned RM25, and I'm
Okay.
gonna put houses on it,
What kind?
single family detached,
Okay.
then I don't think we need as much common space, because they're gonna
Well,
own their
you
yard.
don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to have common
But on a
space. If you are
multi-
just doing
on a
single family.
multifamily sixplex and 25 units and some are attached, I think we need common space in that development.
You could maybe look at it this way. How much, common space do you think people need? Or would we as a city want to see?
I don't
For
even
some,
know if it's a use as it is a look. We don't want 100% of the land built out.
yeah,
It's getting
okay.
old.
And,
It is.
and I would say,
Yeah, it's just-
oftentimes when you have somewhat higher density development, you do want space, let's say, for children to play, to have like a little playground or a gazebo or something. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
It can be-
I think it's more aesthetic when you have a little bit of space that
We
looks
need a
like
little green
someone
space,
can.
yeah.
And, a dog park.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Well, I mean,
Haven't brought that up
coming
for a
down
while.
Center Street, and we've got those units right there, right next to the road, there's nowhere for those poor people. I mean, they step out onto Center Street. And I think it's kind of too bad.
I mean, there's no landscaping, nothing.
There's nothing.
There's not.
No, and it's really,
Yes, yes.
and I've heard so many people hate it,
Yeah,
hate the look of that.
even if they zero-scape it, right? Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm so not.
I mean, it's people's property, but.
So maybe a follow-up question on that. So let's say in these zones, in the RM12 and 25, so a subdivider is allowed to have a single-family subdivision of homes on 5,000 square foot lots. So in that setup, would you also say you would want to see common space, or would you say the fact that everyone has at least a small yard is good enough.
That's what I was gonna
So
say.
what
I
if-
think maybe in its current form, SF1 and SF2, I possibly could get comfortable with. I think it's the other two zones that get problematic for me.
So what if we did it?
Okay, can I have Johnny chime in with just something that we've got on RM 12 and RM 25?
Yeah, so right now, the current, so in RM 12 and RM 25, the minimum landscaped area in RM 12 right now is 15%. And then it's 20% for RM 25.
And that's for any multifamily
And that's-
development.
yeah,
And we define that
multifamily.
as anything that's more than a duplex. So anytime they're coming in with a triplex or greater, they still do have to, just to meet lot standards,
15 and
have 15 and 20%.
So what if we worded it, if you're gonna be 75% of the max density, you have to provide X amount of open space? So if you're got RM 25, if you're gonna do 75% or more to max out your density, you have to require,
25%.
because then the more buildings you get, the more open space you get.
Elizabeth's just thinking about how she's gonna write this.
I know.
Yeah,
I am.
sorry.
I am. Well, I think it just, yes.
Yeah, so on RM 25, if they put 20 units,
I think that I'm getting at that you want to change open space requirements for even just lot by lot developments and not only relating to master plans.
I think if they're single family detached, I think a yard is suffice for
Yeah.
open space.
Yeah, I'm fine with the single family
But anything
And with
separate
duplexes.
But
rules
anything
without
else.
Okay.
that. But when it's
I
higher
will-
density,
Okay,
that we require
Did we put that in
some
a
open
nutshell just
space.
then?
I think I got it.
We'll see what she does with it.
Yeah, I was beginning to understand it a little better just then too.
Okay.
Elizabeth's
I
gonna
will-
come back with something we're all gonna understand.
We'll go,
Yes. I will take a closer look at multifamily standards specifically and what that would look like if we no longer require that they're master planned. And
I
we'll
was
bring
worried
that
I was
back.
gonna get here and I was gonna say this and it was gonna be totally incoherent, so I appreciate that you guys
Yeah, no,
understood what I was trying to
He
do.
appreciates
I'll
that
go
you're
ahead and embarrass
incoherent
myself.
too.
I don't
Thanks for
think
being
that you will need the motion that I have prepared for you unless you have any other discussion. But if you would like to, Daniel, maybe tell me what you would prefer. Do you think it would be all right if the commission just tabled this item?
Yeah, I think that's fine if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I
And
think we need
bring
to
back
table
some
it.
modifications to it.
Is that,
And don't give me a definite date. Give me some time to work on that, like not next meeting. Because Daniel and I might need to workshop that. Yeah,
I
so
think
just
we need to table it.
Yeah,
maybe
we
give me
need
a
to.
motion to table
Well, I just
pending
didn't know if you
staff
wanted, like,
research
start
on the
over
following
or-
things we've talked
No, I
about.
think we just table it.
Plus,
Because she'll,
Yeah, give me like a
Modify.
good year to bring it back.
When are you due?
October 8th.
So we have to have it done before then.
I won't mind if it's not done before
Okay.
then, so.
If not, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. Give us a firm date, I'll let Johnny know.
let's make a motion for the
Well, sorry,
tabling
it is
then.
still open for a public hearing.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Katie, good luck with the minutes.
Thank you.
Sorry. She's just over there going like this, whatever, when they're done, we need to open this for a public hearing?
seeing no one here for a public hearing, I may move a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, could we have a motion?
I make a motion that we table this till,
item,
Just read it from agenda two.
Yeah, just read it from the agenda.
Yes.
Midvale City initiated request to amend various sections of SF1, SF2, RM12, and RM25 zones of Midvale City Municipal Code related to master plan developments. I hereby ask that we table it.
second.
Roll call, Kate, please.
Chair Anderson,
Yes?
Commissioner Tibbetts,
Yes.
Commissioner Snow,
Yes.
Commissioner Leakey,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards,
Yes.
Commissioner Kasparian.
Yes.
It's tabled. Thank you. Please come back to us. After.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna get stoned for saying all of that. I appreciate you being on the same page.
Okay, next we have our staff update, other business. We'll be going over our chapter 12 and our ground rules and whatever else we need to do.
It was a short read.
Forgot one part.
It told me to get out of my HOA, so I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
he
that.
did say that,
It
to
did,
Sal, yeah.
quickly, didn't
Yeah,
it?
So this was a short read, and so this shouldn't take very long. On non-conforming uses, just even from the word, what is a non-conforming use?
Something that doesn't match the current zoning or the code, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so something that was established legally before the current code, was approved, and therefore there's a mismatch between what's built and what the code now requires. That's really all a non-conforming use is. So next question: what happens if a non-conforming use is destroyed by an act of nature, fire, tornado?
Then it has to be rebuilt to conform with the code.
No, it can be rebuilt and
No.
non-conforming within a reasonable
Grandfathered.
period of time.
It could be grandfathered?
Yeah, so you basically you have both. You of course you can, when you rebuild, just conform with the current zone. That's totally correct. However, if for whatever reason an owner wanted to stay with what they had that was non-conforming, they can. And
in a reasonable period of time.
Yes, and that is 1 year. And
1 year to pull the permit or 1 year to finish?
Probably just movement.
I'm not 100 to finish. I think that is sometimes not even possible.
Yeah.
So,
Where I was going.
but I don't know if Daniel happens to know anything.
I missed the question.
Okay.
So the 1 year, is that 1 year to complete the project to conform or 1 year to get the ball rolling?
It would be, I'd have to double check, but I think it's just to get it rolling.
Okay.
Because once you've already engaged and spent money on it, then it's a lot more challenging and not likely to pull it back because they've already invested money into it.
But it would probably have to continue moving from that point. They couldn't start and sit for years.
It's 6 months to get plans run right now, so. Okay.
Yeah, so, and this is very uniform. It's based on a Utah Supreme Court ruling from the 70s. So this is one that we actually dealt with in a way not very long ago on a project that's close to where you live, the service station there. So what happens if a non-conforming use is abandoned? So meaning whoever was doing, let's say, a business that was non-conforming just stops it. For
12 months?
Yeah, so the rule is you can stop it for up to 12 months and then it can still be picked up and continued. But if it's more than that, let's say 18 months, then that's not an option anymore. And now another question, can non-conforming uses be expanded?
Well, sure they can, but it requires a lot, right?
It requires
It requires a lot of work, right?
Well, would it require, like requiring a conditional use permit? Is that what you mean by expanded?
I think beyond that even.
Well,
The book didn't speak to this.
No, this is a bit of a trick question, I have to admit.
Yeah, he's throwing a trick in there.
Yeah, like
Well,
the answer is like where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like in most instances, no.
Well, so I actually, with the question I meant actually so geographically expanded. And in our code, we actually have two different answers to that. If you look it up, so the ground rule normally is no. I mean, if there's something that doesn't conform to the code right now, then you don't want to see that grow. But there is a caveat to that in our code. If you look in the form-based code, there are actually limited expansion possibilities that are pretty tied down, but they are there. And that, I believe, the thought there was that the downtown area is really quite built up. So by approving the form-based code, you made lots of properties non-conforming. And so in order to facilitate this a little bit and give people still some options with their existing property, there's that element of being able to expand a little bit. So this was a trick question.
Thanks. Thanks, teacher.
So next one, zoning estoppel. Does that ring any bells with anyone?
It was in there.
It's it's more of a technical term, but it's actually quite intuitive. Mike?
I just remember it was there, and estoppel is very common in the legal world.
Yeah.
I don't recall what it was for zoning.
Prevents government from enforcing a zoning regulation.
Well, there is that element to it. I don't know, Daniel, do you want to give a hint?
Well, I mean, I can tell you what was in the book. It's a situation where they rely on an action of the city to proceed. And it's similar to what I said earlier about they've now invested money into it, and that reliance came from a city giving them something. And it's not a situation either where it's the city doesn't do anything, but for instance, issuing a permit or approving something where it was a mistake made by the city where it shouldn't have been approved, but then they relied on that approval to then proceed forward with their plans and spent money on it.
And it wasn't malicious in intent.
Yes, and they have to have been clean hands. Like they couldn't have intentionally misled the city to oversee or to overlook something that would have caught their attention. So that's what they would need to do to be able to continue forward with their plans if the city made a mistake and approved it.
So basically, I mean, the city can't go back on its approval. Once the approval has been given, it's been given.
Yeah, unless it was made in bad faith.
Is there
by the applicant or the city?
a time limit on that? Does that go to the 12-month again? Does this expire?
I'm pretty sure that one, it's more of, they've spent money on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that there's going to be a time frame that says if they haven't completed it in a certain time frame or haven't been working on it. Because really the bigger issue, I think, is the amount of money that they've invested. I mean, for instance, the example in the book and the case that was in the book was a person that had started building a house and had spent like $250,000 on building the house. And then while the action was going through the courts, he actually was stopped. And so it didn't get worked on for over a year. But ultimately in that case, the district court judge said, you know, he spent this kind of money. It's not really fair to now go and make him, you know, waste that money and demolish what's already there. So I think it's going to be more important of how much they've invested financially into the project.
It's like a developer, if you got something passed that probably shouldn't have been passed, and then he sells the property with that approval that shouldn't have been approved.
Yeah, I don't think that would be something that the next person could rely on to then proceed, because their investment into it isn't. I mean, I guess there could be an argument there as well that they relied on that approval for the purchase of the property, and therefore the purchase of the property is now not as valuable as it was, and that was the investment that they made. But I think that's going to be a much harder argument for them to make to get the allowance to continue forward.
Okay, now.
We'll never see that because the city makes no mistakes.
No, by definition we don't.
Right, Liz?
Thank you for recognizing that.
You're welcome.
So now the most favorite topic, CC&Rs.
Covenants, code covenants and restrictions.
I live by those. I live by the CC&Rs in my complex.
So, and how do they relate to HOAs?
Yep.
Or
They
what
tell you all
can
kinds
do
of
with
things.
it,
Uh-huh.
or,
Yeah, and
it can
And
be
how much
highly
they can
restricted.
charge you, and how they can decide that.
yeah. And so, and they create the HOA, right? I mean, it's stipulated in there how that HOA is built, what the, voting requirements are, and so on. So how is that different than local government?
Local government happens in public, HOAs do not.
We do it in secret, in the dark.
Yeah, HOAs, like, it talked about how,
They're nasty.
yeah, if you don't have any power to influence your neighbors, they don't have to listen to you, and you might do whatever.
Usually they have to have a majority.
Yes, you have to
of
have
And
a
that's,
majority.
that's
to
implemented
make
in the CCNRs, it said, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the enforcement.
We're not running on a full board where I live right now. We've had some people resign, and yet we're still going forward.
So it's like the Wild
Illegally
West a
going
little
forward,
bit.
might I add.
So Dustin, what did you say?
Enforcement, the HOAs seem like they're pretty good at enforcing the rules, where local government,
Yeah. It also talked about malicious enforcement, though, too, like how they'll change things to, like, drive out people, so.
Yeah, and that's sort of what one hears oftentimes. I mean, I live in an HOA, but it's in Magna, so the requirements aren't so onerous, and the HOA is sort of more or less defunct.
Are you on the board?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I know better than that.
Hey now. Some of us are on the board.
But one thing that really that came from the book that I thought was really quite interesting, where local government and HOAs are actually quite similar, is that they can both, the local government can ask for taxes, and you really can't get away from that. And the HOA, they can fine you and put liens on your property, and you can't get away from that either. So that I thought it's quite interesting how this construct exists. So anyway, any other questions on this chapter or other things? Okay. Then as a reminder, APA conference is coming up. If we have 3 of you who are going, then we all get a better rate. Candace
No pressure, though.
Yeah, no pressure.
I'm planning on going.
So you're planning on going. Candace said
I won't be able to.
you won't be able to.
We're
Okay.
counting on you to go.
I'm sorry.
do we have a time?
I was hoping to go, but
A time.
It's actually
The
interesting.
9th through the 10th, but you know if it's morning all day.
They're all day.
They're all day. So,
all day.
but let's say you can't go to everything, but a good chunk of it, that's okay.
What's the deadline to let you know?
Yesterday.
That's what I'm expecting him to say.
We still have a little
5
bit of
minutes.
time.
Yeah.
We still have a little bit of time. This is why I'm asking. It's hard sometimes if we register people and then we get a third person at the last minute, then APA has a really hard time calculating that and reimbursing money and so on, So anyway, so let me know once if something firms up. And planning commission dinner. So just to confirm, we said the 18th, which is a Thursday, in Candy's backyard, and we are working on the catering. So Robin and I are going to visit the Fajita Grill, and we're going to check that out if that's a good option. So.
Is that address now in the public record as well?
No, it's not.
My address? Yeah, probably.
So,
18.
yeah, the 18th. Otherwise, do you have any questions? There isn't terribly much new in the department. We are still working on all the projects we've worked on 2 weeks ago.
When's
But
our next meeting?
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks, we
2
do. We
weeks.
will have a meeting
We'll
in
have-
2 weeks.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
okay, kids. Anybody want to
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 6:59 PM.
Or 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor? Aye. Right, sorry, guys.
She was just gonna make a
Wow, I'm just really.
Someone said something.